Emma Williams had always believed that life, even when it fell apart, had a way of stitching itself back together. But when her marriage of 15 years ended abruptly, that belief felt like a cruel joke. The silence of her small suburban home in Portland became unbearable, each empty room echoing her heartbreak. Her son, Tyler, was 17, kind, caring, but caught between his mother's tears and his own teenage world. One Friday evening, Emma sat on the couch staring at an old family photo. She hadn't realized she was crying until she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Tyler. "Mom," he said softly, "Evan's mom said you can stay with them this weekend. Maybe it'll help you get out of the house for a bit." At first, Emma refused. She didn't want to burden anyone. But Tyler's insistence, and the gentle reassurance in his eyes, finally convinced her. She packed a small overnight bag and drove with him to Evan's home on the other side of town. Linda, Evan's mother, greeted them with her usual warmth. She had known Emma for years through school events and neighborhood gatherings. "You're staying with us tonight, no arguments," she said cheerfully. "We'll cook dinner, maybe watch something fun." The house smelled of cinnamon and baked apples. It wasn't fancy, but it was alive, filled with laughter, clinking dishes, and the soft hum of music from the living room. For the first time in months, Emma felt a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she missed so deeply. After dinner, the teens retreated to play video games while Emma and Linda sipped tea near the fireplace. The conversation started with small talk, how work was going, how the boys were growing up, but soon turned more personal. Linda had been through her own share of struggles. Her husband passed away when Evan was just 10. "You learn," Linda said, "that the nights feel the longest when you're alone. But that's when you need people the most." Later that night, Emma couldn't sleep. She wandered downstairs, wrapped in a soft blanket, and found the living room lights still on. Tyler and Evan were sitting cross-legged on the floor, quietly talking. They looked up when they saw her. "You're awake too?" Evan asked. "Couldn't sleep," she admitted. Tyler smiled. "We were just talking about life after high school. You can join us, Mom. It's not past your bedtime." The three of them laughed, and somehow, that broke the ice. For the next hour, they talked about everything from favorite movies to what happiness meant. The rain outside began to fall, light but steady, like a lullaby. By 1 a.m., Linda joined them with mugs of hot cocoa. "I figured none of us are sleeping tonight," she said, setting the mugs down. "So let's make it a long talk." What followed wasn't dramatic or loud, it was gentle and real. They shared stories about lost dreams, about fear, and about hope. Tyler opened up about how helpless he'd felt watching his parents separate. Evan admitted he sometimes worried his mom was lonely. Emma, in turn, confessed that she felt like she'd failed her family. But instead of judgment, there was understanding. Linda placed her hand over Emma's and said, "You didn't fail, Emma. You're still here. You're showing up. That's what matters." Something inside Emma broke open, not from pain, but from release. They stayed up until dawn, talking and laughing, and even crying a little. Emma hadn't realized how much she needed that night, the company, the kindness, the reminder that she wasn't alone. When morning light finally peeked through the curtains, Emma felt a calm she hadn't felt in years. She watched her son and his friend doze off on the couch, blankets tangled around them, their youth and energy filling the room like sunlight. Linda came over, holding another cup of coffee. "See," she whispered, "sometimes, a night without sleep can heal what months of silence can't." Emma smiled. "You're right, I think I was more asleep inside than I realized." She stayed the weekend, helping Linda in the garden, cooking breakfast, and rediscovering small joys, like the smell of fresh bread or the laughter of teenagers echoing through the house. When Sunday evening came, she felt lighter. Driving home with Tyler, she said quietly, "Thank you, sweetheart, for insisting I come." Tyler grinned. "I told you it would help. You just needed people who care." At home, Emma looked around at her quiet house. But now, instead of emptiness, she saw potential, for peace, for growth, for new beginnings. She opened the windows, let the cool air in, and put on some music. For the first time since the divorce, she danced, just a little, just for herself. Over the next few weeks, she began volunteering at a local community center. She helped organize reading programs for kids, reconnected with neighbors, and spent weekends with Linda and the boys. Slowly, her days filled with purpose again. Months later, on a rainy evening much like that first one, Emma found herself writing in her journal, "Healing doesn't always come through sleep or solitude. Sometimes, it comes through staying up all night with people who remind you that you still matter." The sound of laughter from the street drifted through her window, and she smiled. Life hadn't gone the way she planned, but maybe, just maybe, it had gone the way it needed to.